What's the best way to reduce? Eat plenty or starve yourself? Starve yourself? Wrong. A half-empty stomach causes hunger tantrums. Now with the RDX full stomach reducing plan, you fill your stomach, avoid hunger tantrums, lose excess weight naturally and fast. And safe, pleasant-tasting RDX tablets contain no dangerous drugs, no hormones. So if your doctor has told you to lose weight, get RDX at your drugstore now.
For a few years now, the Ozempic craze has reshaped Hollywood and increasingly everyday life. What started as a diabetes treatment quickly became the most sought-after weight loss drug, leading to rapid and dramatic transformations. But alongside the shrinking waistline, something else has changed: people's faces. Enter Ozempic Face, or O-Face, a side effect that has become almost as talked about as the drug itself. The phenomenon has sparked an interesting debate. Do you want to be thin, or do you want to have a good face? Because as French actress Catherine Deneuve famously said, at a certain age you have to choose between your face and your ass. This idea has been floating around for decades, but in the age of medicalized weight loss, it's taken a new level of significance. In a world where appearance signals class, health, and status, the face debate isn't just about vanity, it's about power, privilege, and the impossible beauty standards women choose to face. So in today's video, we're taking a deep dive into the politics of the face. We'll explore how beauty standards have historically dictated the ideal face, how pop culture has shaped our obsession with facial structure, and why the Ozempic face is more than just a side effect. It's a reflection of who gets to control the conversation about beauty. And now a word from our sponsor. Thank you Salloot IPL Hair Removal for sponsoring this video. So let's be real, hair removal can be such a hassle. Shaving every other day, painful waxing sessions, or those expensive salon treatments that drain your time and wallet. It's exhausting. That's why I'm so excited to share with you Salloot Trinity Eye Glow 10. It's the game changer I never knew I needed. And look at the sleek design. It's ergonomic, lightweight, and even has a big touchscreen, making it simple to use. Plus, it's award-winning because beauty should feel as good as it looks. The 30-degree angle makes it easy to hold, and the sapphire cooling window keeps your skin cool and comfortable, even on sensitive areas like the bikini line. And it's completely painless. With the Salloot Trinity Eye Glow 10, everything is smart. It syncs with the C-Tone app, which analyzes your skin tone, recommends the perfect settings, and even tracks your progress. It's like having your own personal laser technician at home. And check this out, the AI technology creates a personalized treatment plan, so you get faster, more effective results. And you can even see the instant reports in the app. It's super fast with 200 flashes per minute and automatic mode. I can remove all my hair in just 10 minutes. The triple pulse technology also ensures even the most stubborn hair is gone. After just 2 weeks, you'll see smoother, long-lasting results. So say goodbye to stubble, ingrown hairs, and all of that hassle. And ready to change your hair removal game? Save time, money, and trips to the salon with Salloot. Use my code LauraJane for $140 off today, plus with a 2-year warranty and a 100-day money-back guarantee. So you really have nothing to lose. And trust me, you want to try this one, you'll never go back. So click the link below to order now and join the Salloot revolution. And don't forget to use my discount code below, LauraJane, for $140 off. Now let's jump back into the main video. Chapter 1, the choice, thin body or youthful face. The so-called Ozempic face is not a medical condition, but rather a byproduct of rapid extreme weight loss. When the body sheds fat, it does not discriminate between areas, and the face, particularly the cheeks, temples, and under eye areas, are often one of the first places to lose volume. This can lead to sunken features, deeper wrinkles, and sagging skin, creating an appearance that many associate with premature aging. While this effect has been observed in cases of significant weight loss through history, the sudden rise in Ozempic medications has made these transformations more widespread and more visibly ever than before. And the reason Ozempic face has sparked such a debate is that it forces people, especially women, into a possible beauty paradox. For decades, mainstream beauty culture has demanded that women achieve both an ultra-thin body and a full, youthful face, despite the biological reality that these two ideals often contradict each other. Maintaining a low body fat percentage naturally reduces facial fullness, which means that chasing thinness often comes at the expense of the plump, smooth, symmetrical face associated with youth. Women who achieve extreme weight loss are now being met with an unexpected backlash, accused of looking too gaunt, too tired, or even sick. But this criticism doesn't come with a call to abandon the thin thin ideal altogether. It simply introduces yet another layer of expectation. Be thin, but don't let your face show it. This contradiction exposes a fundamental and often unspoken rule of modern beauty. Thinness must look effortless, and aging must remain invisible. A woman who loses weight is still expected to look youthful, but a woman who keeps some extra weight to maintain a fuller face risks being judged as lacking discipline or self-control. And this double bind has long existed in the beauty industry, but the rise of Ozempic has made it more extreme. Celebrities and influencers who have rapidly slimmed down on the drug are now under just as much scrutiny as they were before. Only now the criticism has shifted from their bodies to their faces. And of course, this is just not a matter of aesthetics. It is also a question of access and privilege. The wealthy, particularly those in Hollywood and elite social circles, can afford to combat Ozempic face through a variety of costly procedures. Fat grafting, where fat is taken from another part of the body and injected into the face, is one of the increasingly popular options. Fillers, which have been used for years to sculpt and enhance facial volume, are now being strategically placed to counteract the gaunt look caused by rapid weight loss. More advanced interventions such as deep plane facelifts and radiofrequency skin tightening treatments can further refine the face while maintaining a youthful contour. And for those who can afford it, the solution to Ozempic face is simply another step in their beauty maintenance routine. They can achieve weight loss without sacrificing facial volume, allowing them to embody the new, carefully curated ideal of being both thin and plump, all in the right places. But for the average person taking Ozempic, these options are often out of reach. I mean, the medication is already expensive, so I can't imagine paying for the cosmetic procedures on top of that. And these procedures are expensive. They require downtime, and in many cases are not covered by insurance. This means that while celebrities and the ultra-wealthy can undergo subtle but effective touch-ups to maintain their ideal appearance, everyday people must accept the consequences of their weight loss and try to reverse the effects through more temporary, less effective means like makeup and skincare. This is where the Ozempic face becomes a class marker. If you are wealthy, your weight loss is seen as aspirational because you can afford to manage it in a way that looks natural and effortless. If you're not, your weight loss may be more visibly imperfect, making you a target for criticism rather than admiration. This has long been the case with body weight itself. Thinness has historically been a privilege of the wealthy, while obesity has been pathologized in lower income communities. Now that same divide is being drawn not just around the body, but around the face. The contradiction where thinness is praised but the visible signs of weight loss are criticized sets up an impossible standard. If you follow the beauty ideal to one extreme, you're told you've gone too far. If you opt for a fuller face, you're at risk of being labeled as letting yourself go. There's no winning, only an endless cycle of beauty maintenance that demands perfection at every stage. I mean, I feel like it's just staying at a healthy weight. I mean, I wouldn't want to be super skinny. I'd rather be like slightly plump so that my face wouldn't look gaunt, but still healthy. And what makes this debate particularly revealing is that it exposes how beauty standards are never truly about health or personal preference. They're about control. Women in particular are constantly forced to adapt to a shifting set of expectations that are designed to be unattainable. When thinness was the only goal, weight loss was seen as an accomplishment. Now that thinness is widely achievable through medication, the goalposts have moved again, and the emphasis has shifted towards preserving a youthful, natural-looking face. This means that Ozempic face is not just a beauty concern. It is a reflection of how the power operates within the beauty industry and culture. The people who set these standards are not subject to them in the same way that everyday women are. Celebrities, influencers, and the ultra-wealthy can afford to engage in high-stakes balancing acts, while the rest of the world is left chasing an ideal that is increasingly difficult to reach. So what does this mean for the future? If history is any indication, the ideal face will continue to evolve, and new cosmetic technologies will emerge to address the latest aesthetic problems. But for now, we are witnessing a critical moment in beauty culture, one where the illusion of effortlessness, perfection is being exposed, and the contradictions within modern beauty standards are becoming harder to ignore. Chapter 2. A history of the ideal face. Who decides what's beautiful? The concept of the perfect face has always been a reflection of the values and priorities of the time. Beauty has never been about personal preference alone. It has been shaped by social structures, class hierarchies, economic conditions, and technological advancements. What we consider beautiful is often tied to deeper cultural anxieties and aspirations, meaning that the definition of the ideal face is always in flux. In many historical periods, facial aesthetics were linked to class distinctions. Before modern cosmetic interventions, a person's appearance often signified their socio-economic status. In the Renaissance, for example, round, plump faces were associated with nobility, leisure, and access to an abundance of food. These features indicate indicated wealth because the lower classes who performed physical labor and had fewer resources often had thinner, more angular faces due to undernourishment and exposure to harsh environments. The softness of a woman's face was directly connected to the ideas of fertility, health, and privilege, making facial fullness an indicator of both status and desirability. As the world industrialized in the 19th century, the association between thinness and refinement began to take hold, particularly in the upper classes. During the Victorian era, a more delicate, slightly hollowed face became fashionable, particularly among women. There was an increased emphasis on ethereal beauty, pale, almost translucent skin paired with refined, angular features. Victorian women went to extreme lengths to maintain this look, arsenic to achieve a sickly, ghostly, paler complexion that had unintended side effects of hollowing out their cheeks. This reflected the cultural ideal of the time. Women were expected to be fragile, passive, and demure, and their faces needed to reflect this aesthetic. Stepping into the 1920s, the flapper era marked another major transformation in beauty standards, particularly in facial aesthetics. For the first time in modern history, women actively sought to reduce facial fullness as a form of rebellion. The rise of jazz culture, urban nightlife, and the increasing independence of women led to a rejection of the traditional round face ideal in favor of a more androgynous, angular look. Women cut their hair into short bobs, darkened their eyes, and aimed for a thinner, more streamlined face. This shift was tied to changing gender roles. Women were fighting for the right to vote, entering the workforce, and gaining social autonomy, and their beauty ideals reflected this departure from traditional femininity. And by the time the 1950s arrived, however, the pendulum swung back. The post-war era brought a return to domesticity, and beauty standards once again favored a soft, full, youthful face. Women were encouraged to embrace their femininity, and Hollywood icons like Marilyn Monroe, Elizabeth Taylor, and Grace Kelly epitomized this look. Their radiant, rounder cheeks symbolized warmth, fertility, and a return to traditional gender roles. This shift was also influenced by the booming economy. Food was more abundant, beauty products were widely available, and cosmetic enhancements such as early versions of fillers were emerging, allowing women to subtly maintain their youthfulness and fullness. The 1970s and 80s saw yet another change, the rise of fitness culture and the growing influence of Hollywood's workout craze, which led to an emphasis on a more sculpted face. The introduction of aerobics, weightlifting, and fad diets encouraged women to strive for a leaner, more defined look, both in the body and the face. This was the first time that actively chiseling the face through exercise, contouring, and skincare became widespread in beauty. Celebrities like Jane Fonda and Christy Brinkley represented this ideal. Thin but not gaunt, full face but not soft, embodying a careful balance that required intense discipline. Then came the 90s, an era that introduced one of the most extreme beauty standards in modern history, the heroin chic look. The grunge aesthetic, fueled by fashion and music subcultures, glorified a sunken, gaunt, and almost malnourished appearance. Kate Moss became the face of this trend, with her hollowed-out cheeks, sharp jawline, and almost skeletal frame. And this was a direct reaction to the over-the-top glamour of the 80s, and it was meant to look raw and effortless and rebellious. I honestly kind of hate this look. It's kind of depressing. But this trend also had a dangerous consequences, as it normalized extreme thinness and disordered eating as aesthetic choices rather than health concerns. And moving into the 2000s and 2010s saw a reversal of the heroin chic era and the rise of injectables, plastic surgery, and social media-driven beauty standards. Instead of glorifying thinness at all costs, the focus shifted to creating the perfect balance structured by soft, chiseled, but youthful features. Celebrities and influencers turned to cosmetic procedures to enhance their facial structure without the side effects of weight loss. High cheekbones, full lips, and a sculpted jawline became the new ideal, giving rise to the era of contouring and facial optimization. This is when cosmetic procedures like fillers, Botox, and buccal fat removal became mainstream. It was no longer enough to simply be thin, you had to be perfectly engineered. Now in the age of Ozempic, we are once again witnessing a shift. The ultra-thin body ideal has returned, but with a new complication. A gaunt face is no longer considered desirable. Instead, beauty culture now demands that women be exceptionally thin while maintaining a youthful, plump face. This is an almost impossible standard to achieve naturally, which is why the demand for fat grafting, facial fillers, and high-tech skin-tightening treatments is surging among those who have rapidly lost weight. What is particularly striking about this moment is that it reveals how beauty is increasingly becoming a science rather than a natural state. The perfect face is no longer something one is born with. It is something that can be constructed, adjusted, and manipulated through medical intervention. And the rise of aesthetic medicine has made it possible to pick and choose which aspects of one's appearance to alter, creating a highly curated artificial version of beauty that is marketed as effortless. But perhaps the biggest takeaway from history is the face has never been just about beauty. It has always been about power, status, and control. The ideal face is dictated by those who hold cultural influence, whether that be Renaissance aristocrats, Victorian socialites, Hollywood moguls, or today's elite cosmetic surgeons. The people who determine what is attractive are often those who can afford to meet those standards, leaving everyone else scrambling to keep up. So what does this mean for the future? Will the next era of beauty bring another reversal favoring natural fullness or sculpted thinness, or will we continue to see beauty become more medicalized with thin bodies and youthful faces meticulously engineered through an endless cycle of cosmetic enhancements? If history tells us anything, it's that beauty ideals will always change, but the pressure on women to conform will remain the same. It'll be interesting to see, because I know Ozempic is new fairly and it's only a few years. It'll be interesting to see, like, even 10 years from now, like the data of like possible side effects, because I've been like hearing different horror stories. Again, these, like, I'm not a doctor, I don't know, I know it's helping a lot of people, but I saw something online about some lady saying that she has a lot of bone loss and like almost like early stage osteoporosis, because I heard you can't absorb nutrients the same. Again, these are all speculations, so I don't know, I'm not a doctor, but I'm always like erring on the side of caution with these type of things. I feel like if it's too good to be true, there must be something to it, and it'll be just interesting to see what happens 10 years from now. Chapter 3, Pop Culture and the Face of Politics and Fame. So Hollywood has long dictated beauty standards, but the rise of the Ozempic face has added a new layer to the way we analyze celebrity transformations. The paradox of achieving an ultra-thin body while maintaining a plump, youthful face has put stars under even more of an intense microscope. In an industry where looking ageless is an expectation, rapid weight loss has exposed contradictions of celebrity beauty maintenance. For decades, the public has obsessed over how celebrities' faces change over time, but the conversation has now shifted from did they get work done to did they lose too much weight? And this shift is notable because historically thinness has been an unquestioned marker of success, health, and desirability in Hollywood. It's interesting now because basically any celebrity who loses a bunch of weight is automatically, people are like, oh, it's Ozempic. And losing weight was once an easy ticket to praise. However, with the rapid effects of drugs like Ozempic, celebrities are now experiencing a new type of backlash, not for getting thin, but for the visible signs of how they achieved it. And this scrutiny is particularly harsh among women. Madonna, for instance, was criticized during every stage of her career. In the 80s and 90s, she was ridiculed for looking too muscular. And as she aged, her face became the subject of countless hit pieces dissecting whether she had gone too far with cosmetic procedures. I mean, I do think she has gone too far, especially in her recent photos, to be honest. And when she appeared more gaunt in recent years, headlines laminated that she looked unrecognizable. I mean, her face just looks completely injected with filler. But what was the alternative? Maybe if she didn't do anything, people would be harsh too, so you can't really win, and this proves an uncomfortable truth. There's no right way for women to age, especially under the gaze of pop culture. And look at Renee Zellweger, who has also been a prime example of this impossible standard. In the early 2000s, tabloids frequently called her like a little bit chubby compared to her Hollywood peers. When she slimmed down dramatically for roles, the focus immediately shifted to speculation about plastic surgery. Her face, which had always been rounder and youthful, became the subject of public obsession, with many accusing her of altering beyond recognition. But what if it was simply the natural effect of aging and weight fluctuation? I do think she had some sort of eyelid surgery or something, because I have nothing against her enhancing her appearance, but she just looks a lot different. So she did a procedure that made her, I think it was eyelid surgery or something. The public never considered that possibly because celebrity beauty is expected to remain frozen in time. Men, while not entirely immune, experience the scrutiny in a much different way. If you look at Jonah Hill, for example, he has gone through multiple public weight transformations. When he was heavier, he was reduced to the funny fat guy trope. When he lost weight, he was celebrated until he lost too much. Then concerns emerged over whether he had gone too far. But notice the tone of the conversation. When men lose weight, the narrative revolves around health and self-improvement. And when women lose weight, the conversation shifts towards how it affects their attractiveness, aging, and desirability. Social media has only made this worse with the rise of high-definition cameras, unfiltered paparazzi shots, and TikTok face analysis videos, and no celebrity transformation goes unnoticed. People are hyper-aware of even the slightest facial changes, whether it's cheek volume, skin laxity, and jawline definition. The conversation around celebrity weight loss is no longer about the body, it's about the face. It's true with film and TV now, the camera's so high definition, you can really see everything. And now this level of scrutiny is no longer exclusive to the rich and famous. With the widespread use of Ozempic, ordinary people are experiencing the same kind of judgment once reserved for Hollywood stars. The average person posting a weight loss journey on social media is now facing unsolicited opinions about whether they've lost too much, whether the face has changed for the worst, or whether they need fillers to fix the side effects. And the face debate has officially trickled down from the elite to mainstream, and the shift represents a turning point in beauty culture. Historically, extreme thinness was a clear signifier of wealth and status, but now thinness alone is not enough. There must be careful curation to avoid looking like you've lost weight unnaturally. This is why the wealthiest celebrities don't just stop at weight loss. They invest in procedures to maintain facial fullness, ensuring that they stay thin without developing the gaunt appearance that gets scrutinized. And for the average person taking Ozempic, they don't have access to these luxurious high-end dermatologist treatments and plastic surgeons, so then they are stuck with the side effects. Instead, it risks exposing economic disparity when those with wealth can perfect their transformations while the others have to deal with the consequences. And at its core, the politics of fame and beauty have always been out of control. Celebrities are not just admired for their appearances, they're policed for them. Society demands they stay young forever, but if they take dramatic measures to maintain that youthfulness, they are mocked. If they gain weight, they are ridiculed. If they lose weight and their face changes, they are criticized for being unhealthy. It's a game that no one can win. And with the rise of medicalized weight loss, the game has only been more difficult to play. So as Ozempic Face continues to dominate public discussion, we have to ask, what is this really about? Is it about beauty, or is it about reinforcing power structures that keep people, especially women, constantly chasing an unattainable ideal? Because if history tells us anything, it's that the rules of beauty will keep shifting, and the moment women finally catch up, those rules will change again. Chapter 4, what comes next? And as the conversation around Ozempic Face grows louder, the questions remain. What happens now? Will the gaunt sculpted look of extreme weight loss become normalized, or are we at the verge of backlash? The future of beauty is unpredictable, but history suggests that what is considered ideal never stays the same for long. One of the most immediate responses to the Ozempic phenomenon is already taking shape: Ozempic recovery. This emerging trend suggests that many people who lost weight rapidly, whether by choice or as a result of peer pressure, are now looking for ways to reverse some of the visible side effects, particularly in the face. As fillers become more sophisticated and fat grafting techniques improve, we may see a rise in highly curated facial enhancements for just the right amount of fullness, and these interventions won't necessarily be about returning to the pre-Ozempic look, but rather about fine-tuning weight loss results to maintain the illusion of effortless thinness to avoid that hollowed out appearance. And if this becomes the new beauty standard, again, there will be a new class divide emerging, and you'll need financial resources to do that. And I know a lot of people take Ozempic too because they do have diabetes, or they're at a point where their health will be affected so much just from being so overweight that Ozempic will save their life in many ways. So it's interesting to see. I know some celebrities didn't necessarily need it, and they have access to like chefs, personal trainers, healthy diet. So I think for them more so, essentially in many ways could be considered a quick fix. So I mean, I'm not judging people either way for taking it. I know it has helped a lot of people who were in need of it, and it essentially has probably saved a lot of people's lives where their weight was affecting their health and they needed to lose weight, and this was kind of the last resort, which I don't blame them for. And celebrities, like, we have seen a pattern of weight fluctuating basically each decade in the 20th century, and even now. You can see this with the heroin chic in the 90s, the extreme thinness of the early 2000s with the muscular look, and then we kind of went into the curvier look with celebrities like Jennifer Lopez and Beyonce in the 2010s, as well as Kim Kardashian, who popularized the fuller standards. But now, like, if you look at Kim Kardashian, she's gotten super skinny. And so the cultural narrative is constantly shifting. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in the future. I mean, based on historical data, it seems like we're just going to go back, flip back and forth. So I think taking Ozempic should not be because you want your body to be a trend. You should be taking it because it's your last resort and you need to lose weight because your health depends on it. So it's interesting to see how it's basically taken over Hollywood. I mean, a lot of these people, if they're not admitted it, you don't necessarily know that if they're on it. So I don't necessarily like accusing people, but I always do wonder if some celebrity suddenly lost a bunch of weight. You kind of wonder how they did it, but maybe they did just hire a personal trainer. But sometimes when their face looks a little weird, kind of gaunt, It's hard to say because I do see that look in the photos online when you look at it. So I don't know. It's hard to say. So what will happen next? Will Ozempic Face be accepted, even aspirational in a look? Or will society reject the gaunt aesthetic and return to celebrating fullness again? And most importantly, will we ever stop scrutinizing people's faces? So what do you think? Will the hollow out cheek look stick around? Or will the full face make a comeback? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like and subscribe for more explorations into beauty, history, and pop culture. Alright, thanks for watching.